When talking about older games, we often hear things like, "This character is messed up." But most of us simply believe it and repeat the statement without fully understanding why players think this way. So I thought, as I do with many videos in this channel, explain why some of these characters deserve the hate and infamy. And what better character is there to start this series but with one of my favorite characters, I-No from Guilty Gear Xrd Rev 2. Hello everyone, this is Sea Leaf Dojo, and today is the day you will get a glimpse of what happens in the daily life of an Xrd I-No player. I know there are a lot of Guilty Gear players who started off as Strive, so they missed out on the era where she was a devastating mix-up character. But she's already a mix-up character in Strive. Oh no. She's a strike-throw character in Strive compared to her previous iterations. Why do you think she has Megalomania? Because her mix-up tools were so heavily nerfed that the devs thought she needed a command throw that's also a projectile, and she's still a mediocre character. That says a lot. Anyways, let's go check out one of the mix-up queens of Guilty Gear Xrd. Let's get acquainted to her by looking at some of her attacks. Standing Punch, 4 frames. Really fast but only hits standing opponents. Great abare and anti-air tool. As a reference, most characters' fastest normal is 5 frames. Crouching Kick, 5 frame low. Reaches really far for how fast it is. Has great versatility as it combos into a variety of attacks. Crouching and Standing Slash. Goes fairly far but has very little combo potential at mid-range without spending half the bar. Jumping Hard Slash. Her longest reaching aerial attack, but it's quite slow at 12 frames. Again, fairly limited combo potential at longer ranges without meter. Honestly, her mid-range normals are probably one of the weakest in the game due to their threat potential, but it's alright. She has what I call the trifecta of high risk, high reward specials that are great when they hit and horrible when they miss. It's like an invincible reversal but with no invincibility. Sounds bad, but considering how they work together as a kit, it's quite obnoxious. The first one is Horizontal Chemical Love, an almost full screen 11 frame projectile that is pretty much an instantaneous laser beam. Knocks down on hit that allows I-No to go for Okizeme. Wow, that sounds ridiculous. Something that good has to be negative on block, right? Nope, +3. And if you spend a measly 25 meter, you can cancel the recovery for a huge combo. Or if they are blocking, a close range mix-up. Jeez, look at that damage and pressure. What makes this risky though? One thing is that this won't hit crouching opponents. So if they have low postured moves, they will go completely under and hit I-No. And did you notice, despite not being an invincible reversal, she is getting counter hit on recovery. The hilarious thing is that a lot of invincible reversals in this game do not have counter hit status on recovery. Kai's Vapor Thrust? Nope. Leo's Eisensturm? Nah. Chip's Beta Blade? Why would a character that has every tool need that kind of weakness? On top of that, most characters can simply dash underneath it. So I-No players have to pick their spots in some matchups, but once you have that meter though, you can start baiting moves that counter it. Raven's Crouching Hard Slash, Fair Dash Forward for a full combo. Kai's Stun Dipper, simply fall downwards to counter hit with an aerial attack. The threat she generates with this move is quite insane, and sometimes strong enough to make her opponents play defensively. And that is incredibly important in an offensive game like Guilty Gear Xrd. The complement to this attack is Stroke the Big Tree, and yes, it's a sexual innuendo. She crouches low to the ground, slides forward, and rises up with a cool looking blade. If it hits, it can lead to a knockdown. The magnificent part about this attack is that it evades a lot of things. Raven's Crouching Slash? Look at how much effort he's making to go low to the ground. Haha, nope. Chip's Crouching Dust, even I-No's own Crouching Slash, she'll simply slide underneath to whip Punisher pokes. Should have used an attack that actually goes into the ground. Sounds amazing, right? It does have its weaknesses though. It has a fairly big hurt box going down to slide and going up to throw the blade, so if an opponent times the attack well, it can counter her even if it does not hit low. Also, unlike Strive, it's not negative on block unless it's instant blocked, even on the slash version, and +3 on the heavy slash, so it's fairly spammable if the opponent isn't looking out for it. I don't know how Strive players deal with -7, -2. Yikes. The last move to complete the trifecta is Sultry Performance, a set of dive attacks that can be used as surprise approaches. Slash version goes diagonally down and knocks down on hit. Look how fast it goes. It also ground bounces for a possible combo on counter hit. It is punishable if it is blocked high, but there is nothing guaranteed if it hits near the feet. Kick and punch version have different speeds and angles, so it can be useful if the opponent is trying to actively anti-her, but it's mostly for combos. Hard slash version goes straight forward. It's often used in combos but can be a great escape tool when combined with the threat of other versions. Let's say an opponent is trying to jail I-No in the corner. One way for I-No to get out is slash version of Sultry Performance. It's really fast and has a good angle, so if the opponent isn't ready, she will easily get out. When this situation happens, majority of experienced players will try to do an air-to-air option by meeting her halfway. If the I-No reads this though, she can use the hard slash version for a clean escape. These set of options really make I-No an evasive character in certain situations. As you can tell, she has a lot of "you only live once" moves. High risk, high reward. Gamble till you make it. It's one of the reasons why many people get upset when they are hit. The opponent is constantly guessing, and when they make the wrong decision, it usually leads to a knockdown. And this leads to the main dish of today's course, Okizeme. For people who are not familiar, I-No has quite a special dash where she hovers into the air instead of running on the ground. This allows her to do really fast and low height overheads. This is the same between all of her iterations, but Xrd version is considerably faster. For example, Strive I-No's typical dash kick hits around 22 frames, and this is after buffs. You don't even want to know how slow it was in Season 1. Xrd I-No, you ready for this? Around 15 frames. Yeah, good luck consistently reacting to that. Look at the difference. So what does she get out of all of this? An overhead this fast surely can't be safe or lead to big damage, right? Oh my sweet summer child. Let's start off with the least egregious property. First off, her aerial normals recover fast enough that in most cases cannot be interrupted with non-invisible strikes. As a matter of fact, if it's done on Okizeme, she can safe jump invisible reversals, so in some cases, opponents have to actually block the incoming mix-up. Now, if the attack hits, I-No can go for a simple knockdown with a sweep. Hey, that did very little damage, not bad at all. But what's that green projectile? That is I-No's antidepressant scale. It's a slow projectile that does very little damage, no knockdown, and barely any hit or block stun. Honestly, a joke of a move. I'm kidding. This projectile has a unique property in that the number of hits increase as it travels farther. So how many hits does it do after the sweep? In most cases, 3. You know what that leads to? Enough block stun for her to do some highness dash mix-up. Unless you have an invisible reversal or meter to do defensive system mechanics like bliss shield or dead angles, you're going to have to deal with the incoming mix-up. And all these can be baited and heavily punished, so the risk reward is massively in I-No's favor. Alrighty then, let's try to block the incoming mix-up. If it's anything like Strive, you can fuzzy most of her offense, right? She can do one high, one low, empty low, empty throw, double high, or delayed high. A simple high-low high or high throw should block most of these approaches. By the way, if you're unaware of what fuzzy defense is, check out this guide. I use this very example to explain how to block multiple mix-up options with one set of inputs. Really useful in mix-up heavy games. Anyways, this is the reason why she has to mix in a lot of throws and utilize the command throw overdrive. The thing about Xrd I-No is that she has all of these things I just mentioned, but that's only a fraction of the tools she has. Buckle your seatbelt because we're going on a wild ride. First, she has more Gatlings in the air. Gatling is the Guilty Gear way of describing normals that can be cancelled into other normals. For example, Xrd I-No can go from most aerial attacks to aerial dust, slash to heavy slash, and repeatedly press punch. Not too many options. Xrd I-No has all these as well, but additionally, kick to punch, kick to slash, and slash to kick. So you can do stuff like slash, kick, then dust, which makes fuzzy timings a bit more complicated. But wait, Sealeaf, you don't want to dash too high, so 3 including dust is probably the most you're going to get, right? On normal dashes? Yes. But she also has an air dash that goes straight forward, so she can chain upwards to 5 attacks. Slash to heavy slash, slash kick then slash, kick slash kick to punch, and add dust to any of these strings for a bit of spice. Oh, and also if you get players with matchup knowledge, you can delay some of these buttons to fake out the number of hits. Devious. By the way, you know how I said 3 hits were the general max you were going to get on a normal dash? I was lying. In this game, I-No can car cancel an aerial dust with faultless defense. What's a car cancel? It's a technique where you can cancel the startup of an action with something else. Check out this guide for more details. Faultless defense is a special type of block that prevents things like chip and adds pushback. Now, why would we want to do that? I-No's aerial dust has an interesting property where it changes her aerial momentum. By car cancelling into faultless defense, it allows her to get a small hop without committing to an attack. So what can we do out of this? For starters, we can go for moves that have a different trajectory and Gatling options. For example, we can do kick, slash, jump cancel to aerial dust, then car cancel that into faultless defense, then do a kick, then another dust. 4 hits! And if you don't want to go for another high attack, you can always simply land and do an empty low. This gets high level players all the time. The green effect of the faultless defense makes them think another high is coming. The cool thing about this technique is that it can be used to change the direction I-No is facing when switching sides. If I-No does a super jump forward, dust, faultless defense cancel, I-No can go for a quick side switch. Who said it's only high-low mix-ups? She has left-right as well. And speaking of cross-ups, she can jump cancel grounded normals to air dash vertical chemical lock. This is a projectile that hits both above and below her, and depending on how early you do the move, you can hit either side of the opponent. And with a cool low price of 25 meter, you can go for a very damaging combo that usually gives a good Okizeme situation. The scary thing about all this is that I've probably covered maybe half of the things she can do, and I'm not going to do all of it because I don't want to make an hour-long video. The awesome part is that she has so many options that most players only use a small portion of her tools. And each of those players usually pick a different set, so even at high levels, you'll see vastly different ways I-No opens up players. Makes it really fun to watch. With all that said, it sounds like she has highness Okizeme, but low damage, right? I mean, the aerial string in the suite was pretty weak, and it is. But that combo is focusing on Okizeme rather than damage. So what happens when she goes for damage? Here's a standard mid-steering combo. Whopping 1/3 of the health gone with her weakest starter. If she does a much stronger starter, almost half the opponent's life. And you know what? She still gets basic Okizeme. And if you start exploring character-specific combos, well, she's going to do more damage while carrying the opponent further. Did you see that? I went from one corner to the other from an empty low. Why does a mix-up character do so much damage in corner carry? Wild. And you know what happens once she gets to the corner? Even more damage, but this time around, she also gets the green stuff. So no more sacrificing excellent Okizeme for damage, just getting both. Sounds incredibly oppressive, right? The messed up part is, there's yet another layer to the mix-up. Let me introduce you to serialization method. This is a special move that has I-No strangle the opponent with what I assume is a guitar string. It's an aerial command throw that can be cancelled from our normal and executed both on the ground and in the air. You know what this means? Unblockable resets at almost any point in your combo. Recovering after an air dash sequence? Reset. Trying to get out of the juggle? Reset. And since it has throw properties, it can also catch bursts. For people not aware, burst is a system mechanic that allows a player to do an exploding strike at any time. So think of it as a get out of jail card that can be used during a combo or a block string. This is present in almost every Guilty Gear game, but for Xrd and XX, they can be nullified by a throw. By the way, in the Xrd community, we call this soul stealing. So how can people avoid this? The main method is to delay or avoid recovering in the air. If a player is in normal state of hit stun, they cannot be grabbed. So at high levels, some opponents will avoid recovering in certain situations. I can't count the number of times I got a non-true combo or knockdown because the opponent was too scared for the reset. The most messed up thing from all of this is that she can go into a very damaging combo that leads to Okizeme. And if the I-No players is feeling extra greedy, another sterilization method reset. Putting it all together, you can tell that I-No can potentially win rounds from one sequence. She does your high risk, high reward neutral gamble. If she scores that knockdown, the dice starts rolling for Okizeme. And if the opponent fails to defend 3 or 4 times, the round is quickly over because all of her combos can loop for mix-ups. She is definitely one of the reasons why the walls break and strive. Extremely fun character to play as, but probably frustrating on the receiving end. For me, I would call her the gambling queen of Guilty Gear Xrd.
Let's go.
Hope you enjoyed the video. I know I made it sound like I-No is a war crime of a character, but she's actually not that bad in the context of the game. There's a lot of defensive mechanics like option selectable one-frame throws, and invisible backdashes that can put some risk on I-No as well. And the game is incredibly deep, so there are plenty of techniques and strategies that mitigate these options. Truly a wonderful game. If it gives you any context, many players place her high on the tier list, but never in the top 3, usually in the top 5 or 10. The true criminals though, might be a topic for another video. But anyways, this video is supported by people on Patreon, so if you did enjoy it, consider helping me there so that I can make more of these videos. And you get cool perks like early access. Alright, until next time, have fun with fighting games.